Our gospel lesson comes from John chapter 12, verses 1 through 8. Listen now for a word from God. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. There they gave a dinner for him. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those at the table with him. Mary took a pound of costly perfume made of pure nard, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He kept the common purse and used to steal what was put into it. Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She bought it so that she might keep it for the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. All right, I've got some words I'm going to say, and you are going to judge them for me. Thumbs up is positive, thumbs down is negative, and if it's somewhere in the middle, you can do that. Okay, so put your thumbs up. All right, for the word impulsive, is it positive or negative or somewhere in the middle for you? How about passionate? Spontaneous? Dutiful? Careless? Unexpected? Devoted? Okay, you can put your thumbs away. There's no judgment in those words. They're just words. But our experience with them leads us to judge them. Are those good words or bad words? Think about the last time that you did something spontaneous. Do you remember the last time that you were so moved to do something that you just jumped in and did something totally unexpected? That's Mary. Now, remember these characters from this story. We've met them before. You know them. Mary's the one that sat at Jesus' feet while Martha was slaving away in the kitchen and wasn't too happy about it. Mary and Martha and Lazarus are the ones who gave Jesus the closest thing he had to a home while he was out traveling around on his ministry tours. Lazarus is the one who was dead and in the tomb for 4 days that Jesus called out from that tomb. So all of that background has happened, and now here we are, and they are sharing a meal. And I have to imagine that for Mary and Martha and Lazarus, every single moment is a celebration. Lazarus was dead, like dead, like he smelled dead. And then he was alive again. And they get to sit at the table and share a meal. That's pretty amazing. Every moment lived would be such a gift. But I have a feeling this meal was also tinged with grief, anticipatory grief, because they're sitting there with Jesus, and he's alive. But he keeps telling them about what's going to happen, and that soon he will not be with them. And in this random moment at dinner, Mary, with her enthusiasm, jumps in and does just exactly what feels right in that moment to her. And she breaks open this jar of expensive perfume and rubs it on his feet and then wipes it with her hair, which I think is as weird then as it is now. We all do things spontaneous every once in a while. But I wonder, is this what you would do? Have you ever walked through the perfume aisle of a department store and held your breath because everybody's tested so many smells that you can't catch your breath? That's what I imagine this closed space with Jesus and Mary and Martha and Lazarus and their other friends smells like. It's a very strong perfume. And then imagine Mary going to bed that night with that smell in her hair. She might have thought about that through and chosen a different way of celebrating her joy. But she didn't. She jumped right in. And though Mary keeps living her life that way, she keeps being chastised for it. Martha, in the story we didn't read today, almost tattles on Mary. Jesus, she's not helping me in the kitchen. Today, in this reading, Judas tries to shame her for wasting this costly perfume. And Jesus says no. What she is doing right in this moment is good and right. I will not always be with you. Celebrate your joy in this moment with me. My family has a deck of cards, and it's a game. It's called Play It Forward. And for those of us good Presbyterians who are a little more inhibited than Mary may be, these cards give suggestions of ways that we can do things in the moment that stretch us out of our comfort zones. One example of a card is to, in conversation with someone, replace the word now with the word meow. And so every time you are going to say the word now, you instead say meow. If you do that 6 times in your conversation, then you get to give them the card, and now it's their job to go and meow at someone in conversation. We haven't used that one. But other examples are lay down in a public place and stay there until someone checks on you. When they check on you, give them the card. Or leave a generous tip and this card with it, so that when someone receives their tip, then they will play it forward and leave a tip for someone else in the future. A fun one was sneak a card onto somebody's body somehow, in a purse or a pocket or something, without them knowing. The game is a structured way to be somewhat spontaneous. And they're just little things, silly things, but maybe they could lead us to being a little bit more alive in the moment, a little more present to what is happening around us right now. Mary knows the secret of living like that. And Mary shares that trait with children. Children often don't know what they can't do, and so they try things. They aren't waiting for the future. They jump right in the now. 10-year-old Alina Morse invented Zollipops. They're lollipops that aren't sweetened with sugar because her dentist told her sugar is bad for teeth. So now she and her family sell Zollipops. And she donates part of her proceeds to helping provide dental care. Or Eric Finman is 17, and he started Bowtangle, which is an online video tutoring service, because he had a really rough experience in school, found that he learned better in other ways. He had always been told, you're not going to amount to anything, you should just drop out. And so he did. But he didn't believe that his success was limited to being in school. And so he finished school and created this tutoring service for others who learn like him. He didn't know he shouldn't be able to do that, and so he did it. Or, my favorite, Michaela Ulmer got stung by a bee twice in 1 week. And she was 4 or 5. And so then she had this fear of bees. And her family wanted to help her overcome that fear, so they did research about bees. And then they learned bees made honey, and so they tasted honey. And when this child learned about the declining population of bees, she wanted to help. So she created a lemonade that's sweetened mainly with honey and began selling it. She donates part of her proceeds to helping to save the bees. And she now has a contract with Whole Foods in the southeast of the United States selling her lemonade. She didn't know she couldn't or shouldn't or wouldn't succeed. And like the other two, they just jumped in and tried something new. Mary jumps in and lives in the moment. Maybe she's supposed to be doing other work, but she sits at Jesus' feet. Maybe she's supposed to be saving that expensive perfume for the next death. Maybe she should have sold it and donated the money to help those who needed something. But instead, she anointed Jesus while he was still present, and they were sharing a meal. Mary knew something about life and about death. And she knew that every moment is precious. And so she took action. What would it look like if we collectively were more like Mary? What if we were more spontaneous and we tried something new? What if one of us said, let's spend a few days in June in Nebraska helping with flood cleanup? And instead of immediately thinking, ooh, where would we sleep? What would we eat? What work would we do? What if instead we thought, we could do that? Or what if someone said, people are really busy, just running themselves ragged. We need more time to pray and to center ourselves. And what if from that one observation someone said, let's set a time of gathering prayer once a week, beginning in the fall. And another person said, let's think about offering a restorative yoga class. What would our portion of the world look like if we were less inhibited? What would happen if we recognized Jesus in our here and now, and we served him like Mary did? Let's wonder that together. Amen.